Hello, this is the spoiler version of Spider-Man 2. I did a non-spoiler version in my last video. Now this is the one where I'm going to spoil everything. First off, the really important thing. Gwen Stacy dies! Like, I knew it was going to happen, but I really wanted to live. I hate Mary Jane. I don't like Mary. Mary Jane's just kind of pointless. Gwen Stacy is amazing. Anyway, first there were things I liked about the film and things I didn't like about the film. I really liked Max. I mean, I love Electro, but I really liked Max. He was a lovely guy who just had a lot of crap. And you know, he loved Spider-Man, and Spider-Man knew his name, and it was all, you know, you felt sorry for the guy. You felt sorry for a freaking supervillain. What's going on? But I really liked him. And then when he had like the electrical poles and you just knew something was going to happen. You know, I bet there's loads of people that worked at Oscorp that just dead for different reasons. They're different supervillains. That's just how it works. If you work at Oscorp, you're going to be a supervillain. Harry Osborn, Max Dillon. Technically Richard Parker in a way. Because that's the other thing I don't get. If the DNA is Richard Parker's, the only people those spiders can actually affect is Peter Parker. Or have I got that wrong? Because the whole point was the fact that his mum and dad had left. That's the whole central of the story. Electro and Rhino and, not Doc Ock, Green Goblin are all different parts. But the main point is that Peter Parker is trying to find out what happened to his mum and dad and why they left when he was a kid. So we have a plane crash in the beginning where it shows them trying to escape, and we are to assume they died in a fiery plane crash. And he sent Roosevelt, which is the file, to his old computer in the train station. We don't really know that yet. So we've just got Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy and all this stuff going on. When Peter Parker actually throws the calculator against the wall, and all these coins come out, he knows it's something. So he goes to this abandoned subway station, and there's a cart there which is full of sciencey crap, basically. That's just sciencey crap. And he finds out that his dad destroyed all the spiders because he knew what the spiders were going to be used for. And then Peter, stupidly, decided to go into a place marked top secret and get bitten by a spider. Peter Parker is not the smartest superhero in history, but it serves it well. So you have all the mystery with his dad, and he finds out what his dad was up to, and, you know, it's a nice moment. Most of the actual film is him and Gwen Stacy breaking up. Now, I get they were trying to fill stuff in and, you know, create it so it had like some nice calming moments and stuff. And, you know, he was following her around town in his Spider-Man costume. That's quite nice. We got an introduction to Jameson, who runs the paper, and that will obviously be brought forward in a different thing. I can't remember if we had some indication of him earlier, but we had it now, so it's good enough. And Gwen Stacy dies. Gwen Stacy dies. I was crying. Literally, when Electro was turned, I was like, oh, he's dead. That sucks. And it was his birthday. Why'd you kill someone on their birthday? He's a supervillain, for God's sake. You know, you can't feel sorry for a supervillain, but I did. And then they try and hide it by the authority of Harry Osborn, or they think it's by his authority, but it's actually not. He's too busy kind of... The Norman disease is never really clarified in the film. In the comics, I think it's meant to be just an infection or something. And then Harry Osborn wants Spider-Man's blood because he believes it can heal him. In actual fact, it does the opposite, and it turns him into the Green Goblin. Now, the Green Goblin, when you see like the motor point is like a healing pod. So as soon as he stands on it, he regains full health as long as he's on this pod. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, ah, Green Goblin! But that also meant Gwen Stacy was going to die. And I was tense for his whole fight with Electro, because I thought Electro was going to last longer instead of being captured like straight away. Although he did come back and put some pretty good things in, and you know, he was quite good when he dissolved into walls and stuff. And like, I love Electro. He's my favourite. Him and Doc Ock, my favourite, you know, Spider-Man villains. And obviously, you had all the fight with Electro. You had him and Gwen making up again, him and Gwen breaking up again. That was the whole film, and it was really good. And I really enjoyed the film. Then I cried, pretty much, after Electro had been beaten, or we presume he's beaten, but he could be part of the Sinister Six, which is the next franchise with Doc Ock and Vulcan, one of the two, and you know, all of the supervillains, which I think is going to be quite good because I haven't done a supervillain movie, but yeah, I was waiting for it because my brother had told me that she dies in the comics. It's meant to be her neck gets snapped because Spider-Man doesn't save her in time and the web goes around her neck, and in this, you actually saw her hit the floor. So I'm not quite sure if it was Spider-Man's fault or the fact that he didn't catch her in time. But in a way, it is Spider-Man's fault. So as soon as I saw Green Goblin, I mean, I did look at her outfit and see if it was on one of the comics, but I think they changed that just to throw you. As soon as I saw Green Goblin, I went. And I actually missed 10 minutes of fighting because I was crying, because I knew it was going to happen. So that part is a little bit of a blur to me. Someone could fill me in and see what I missed. And then she was on the clock tower bit with the watches and stuff, and you saw the clock and you just knew it was going to happen. I was really hoping they were just going to let her live. They did. They killed her off. And then there was a couple of times when she fell, and I was like, "That's it. She's gone. She's done. You can start crying again now," because I was still going. And then she drops because you saw her. Saw Green Goblin fly off with her, and that's how it all starts. And she drops, and the height is like that. So she goes all the way down. And then Spider-Man's trying to web her, and there's bits of clock and everything. And then she actually hits the floor, and her neck goes... Oh my god. I just burst into a fresh set of tears. And they were like really heavy sobs. They were like... I had mascara on, so I had like a big blood patch over my eyes, which was very attractive. I just kept crying. And when he came down and he was like, "Gwen, it's okay, you can get up now," and she didn't move, I was like, "But she's dead, Peter Parker, you don't understand because you didn't catch her." And it was just so funny because my brother was watching me going, "What the frick are you doing? You're crying at a fictional character." He loves Emma Stone, he has a real crush on her. So I knew he was crying too. And yeah, when she just, and then he was kind of holding her, and I was still crying, and then they had the funeral, and I just cried all over again, and I kept crying and crying and crying, and literally, the end of the film, I was still in tears, because you have the part with, like, he puts her photos away, and he kind of puts her away in a cupboard, and, it was just so sad. I felt really depressed. Like, on the way to Spider-Man, we were listening to the Quarterback episode of Glee, the soundtrack, so I was depressed thinking of Finn anyway, and then when the film ended, I had to go to the bathroom and kind of cry again, because I up until the credits, I was sobbing my eyes out, and it wasn't nice, it was really harsh sobs, and then, so yeah, when we were going back, we put on If I Die Young, which was on the Glee Quarterback soundtrack, and it had a whole different meaning now because Gwen was young and she died. I'm very glad they didn't introduce Mary Jane at that point, because I wouldn't have frankly cared. Like I say, I didn't care when Rhino was introduced. I was like, yeah, we've done the villain bit, just let me cry now. I don't care. And then we went to KFC and we ate our troubles away, because that's what you do when you just watched a film where your favourite character dies. So yeah, Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man will be really good. They're going to do the Sinister Six spin-off, and I think they're going to do a Venom spin-off as well, because we haven't quite been introduced to that yet. But yeah, R.I.P. Gwen Stacy.